up for review today. This Nilight Nixman off-road lights here. I guess Nixman is like a new line for them, like an off-road series. They do have a yellow lens cover. I have kind of messed around with these a little bit, and there is a blackout. Now this isn't like a lens. This is actually blocks all the light. It's not like a not like just a black lens cover that light still gets through. It's not tinted, I guess I should say. The mounting hardware is metal, and it's got quite a bit of rotation because the rear of the lens is rounded, which is neat. So here it is, and pull this off. Now that's another thing. Like, these aren't really made to like slip off easily. So the novelty of being able to swap covers, it's not all that handy. Like, I wish they could just slide right off to left or right. Now, as I've noted in some other videos, when you peel off the plastic, I hate that they like leave the plastic on the lens and then assemble it, because then that becomes a problem. Also, I just noticed something odd. Kind of an interesting design, because it almost looks like the screws are just pushing straight down on like a gasket. It's hard to... I might have to take this apart and make sure it's sealed. I didn't catch that before. But I'm going to go ahead and power it up. Let you take a look at it. It's going to be bright. And yeah, they're plenty bright. There's like no issue with that at all. And you can see it's got some maybe 45-degree spread, like a good area. And then you have this concentrated, almost like double beam here. And I can feel the heat off of it. So this does generate some heat. It's quite powerful. Here's with the yellow lens. Again, looks pretty good. And then to reiterate, this is just a blackout. This is not a tinted lens. And hardware, fit, finish, feel, all feels great. You got these huge, deep heat dissipation louvers here, like heat sink. Nice metal end caps. The cord feels robust. The wires look fine. It's labeled. Nothing too crazy or bad or anything. Kind of a interesting mounting design where the mount will kind of rotate around unless you do this number. But I like that it's all metal. The bolts are captive, or the nuts I should say, are captive, but I don't see that it has like a one of those lock nuts that will keep it from backing out. I don't think that's going to be an issue if you tighten it properly, because there should be some give in the middle and kind of creates almost like a crush washer. But something to consider, especially if you're going to be off-roading with this. Make sure that they're good and tight. And I'm going to see if I have the size I need handy to pull this lens cover off, because I was looking at it and I want to make sure they ain't got some kind of funky shortcut going on here with the design. It could just be purely cosmetic, but I want to pull it off and make sure that there isn't something they've done here that they shouldn't have to cut a corner. There we go. So I think what I'll have to do is pull one cap off. And it does seem like the bolts are properly torqued. Again, no washer, no lock washer on these, but they're plenty deep in there. Fine threaded, so I don't see these backing out. Can't even get that one off. All right. They got something handy to pull that extra bolt out there. Take a little shortcut here. Oh. Dang, that one's really tight. Pretty sure I'm gonna have to get that off to get a good look at that. Might have to pull out some Allen keys here real quick. And I don't fool around with the videos as far as over editing or cropping. Like, I don't like to make it look like something was done off camera, and I'm not monetized, so I don't really care for spending all that time making the video. Let me go grab some Allen keys and I'm gonna get that off, and then we'll loosen these and make sure this is actually sealed properly. All right, so what I need should definitely be in here. This is a nice big screwdriver kit I also got off of Amazon. If you come across that one, I think I can definitely recommend that one too. All right, let's see here. Pull these out. And this. Nope, that one. Should work. See if this bigger screwdriver will work. A little bit of extra torque. Now this screwdriver's cheap as crap. If you come across them, you know, don't expect to get a whole lot of use out of this ratcheting screwdriver. But for the price and the amount of screwdrivers you get and bits and stuff now, the really nice stand with that one, I definitely recommend it. But anytime you see these with the plastic top, that ain't gonna last. It's gonna break pretty quickly. So here's what it looks like. So there is a little O-ring here. You can see these huge heat fins here. I like that. But, and this is kind of siliconed in right here. See if we can't get a good look at that. Move some lighting around. So that's siliconed in there. It's like a, almost like a one-piece gasket. And so what's going on here is, from the front view when you're looking down in from, like, without taking it apart, it actually looks like the screws are pressing down on a gasket, but it's not. It's pressing on the plexi like lens, and then that lens is crushing this gasket to create a seal, which it's okay, and it's going to create a seal. But if this was manufactured properly, what it should have is an actual flange, like a little piece of metal that goes in on top of the lens on the sides, so that when you screw down, there's even pressure and the screws won't go into the plexi. So like if these get over tight, it's going to crack the lens. But you can tell by looking in there, it just looks funky. Now that we know it's not actually pushing down on the gasket directly, this is making more sense, because let me see if I can zoom in here. So on the inside here, it looks like the gasket's being pushed on, and then it comes up and then gets pushed on there. This is what I was talking about with having a flange that's going to do even pressure, because what's really happening here is the gasket's compressed here, and then up here it's not compressed. So there is, while it looks like it has a pretty good seal, there is a potential that their condensation could end up getting in here, because maybe between the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 areas of uneven pressure, there's going to be one that lets a little bit of moisture in or something. So it's kind of sad, because this is such a nice light. They could have not cut that corner. I still think I can recommend this, but if you're a handy kind of person, honestly, I would loosen these, find me a piece of aluminum or something, and make your own little thing in there, especially if you're planning to be off-roading and doing a lot of crazy stuff with these. I think that for the price that, you know, price range of these kinds of products in this product line, because I like Nilight, you know, what they offer compared to like the store-bought 4x4 or whatever kind of light products. I think it represents a good value, but you got to pay attention, make sure that you're not setting yourself up for failure, and have this installed for, of course, it's going to be long enough to be outside the return window whenever you start having a problem. Maybe put a little bit extra time into taking a product that's affordable, making it bulletproof, versus buying a nicer product. So really, that's a decision you're going to have to make. But yeah, that's been my review of this Nilight. This one is the LO2 series. So LO1, LO2, light off-road. And then it comes with this kit. Another thing about this kit, I've installed this. One thing I don't like is, so you have your primary power here, right? And a relay. That's a great design. That's how you're supposed to do it. Here's the biggest issue I have with this. This blue light on the switch stays on all the time. So that's going to be parasitic power draw. It makes no sense to do that. Now, modern LEDs, modern vehicles, it would take like a month, right? But it's still a thing. If you put this on an off-road vehicle or something with a small battery, I definitely wouldn't recommend doing that. So what I actually ended up doing with this kit, there's a single lead you can take off. I believe it's the bottom one, and all that bottom one does is provide constant power for the blue LED that lights up on this thing all the time when the switches are off. Unplug that, you're good to go. And then when you do activate them, they still light up red. So they're not going to light up unless you maybe run an extra lead from there to a positive to something that turns on with the ignition. But you're not going to be able to put a whole nother switch in between here. At least I don't recommend it, because you're defeating the purpose of a relay, where you're diverting this current on this long run to a switch and then possibly being unfused and all that, when this is to protect the vehicle, right? Because you don't want to fire. You want high current flow path right here, right? And then you have your low current activation circuit, which this is, you know, carries nothing. If you shorted this, nothing's going to happen. If you short this, you can cause a fire. So I don't recommend splicing this, doing a whole bunch of crap. Keep this close to the battery. Have these leads going to the battery or to your fusible link primary under your engine and your engine bay, and then mount this on the wall. This doesn't have to be grounded. You can just strap this anywhere. And then maybe do something different with that bottom lead, either unhook it or run your own lead to ignition just to activate the blue light at night whenever you're driving, so you can see the switch to activate it. So yeah, I think they're pretty nice. And you know what, now that I'm looking at this, I think I have an extra Nixon brochure mixed in here with this one, because I was noticing this. So this wiring kit actually came with a different product, and I don't know if I mixed the brochures up or if this actually came with this one, or if they sell it separately. But and you'll see to accessory switch power. So it might not actually have this switch with this in the box. I can't actually remember, and I apologize, because I've got a bunch of these products and I have to test them and verify the contents before I make videos, so it could have gotten mixed up. But either way, that's a good note to know. In general, these same principles apply regardless. So if you buy an aftermarket switch kit, it should have a relay. It's going to work exactly the same way. And you want to look out for things like parasitic power draw, because you can install something like this, not think about it, and have problems with your battery going dead, and then you're searching all around your vehicle trying to figure out what it is, when it's been that light that you installed over a month ago the whole time. So anyway, thank you.